It's amazing through all the history and decades of the Coastal Queen running up and down the coast with guests and its prior life before that, you know, hauling all those oysters and stuff like that, having all that tremendous amount of weight put on the deck there and stuff that she survived. And as we're getting into the refit here, we found more and more signs of, you know, decay and rot as we really tore into the boat. It had been, you know, well maintained through the decades for sure, but it hadn't seen a big refit like this in quite a while, and she desperately needed it. We've been looking, you know, down and doing all this work, and now that we're starting to do, we knew there was issues with the deck, and a bunch of deck beams got replaced. But there's, you know, just these rot pockets that exist.
The rotten parts of the keel.
Rot.
There's a lot of rot near the butt joints.
He found that there was an enormous amount of rot.
Considerable amount of rot.
Extensive amount of rot in them.
Rot.
Rotten material.
Iron sickness in the keel, and that is what caused such extensive rot.
Sporadic decay is caused from fungus, which often are already in the wood, but the right combination of fresh water and oxygen, or the lack thereof, can produce bacterial spawn, and thereby the wood in the timber is eaten up by bacterial activity. The other types of decay really have to do with electrical current and flow of electrons through the material, and we call it electrolysis. If you introduce dissimilar metals in salt water, then you have a battery set up which translates into electrons getting sent from one of the metals to the other, and that activity going through the wood destroys the lignum, which is the material that holds the cells together in the structure of the wood. We call that delignification. You could get delignification other ways. It could also be a stray current from a marina or other outside source. It doesn't have to be dissimilar metals in the same boat. The other of the destructive forces that happen is the metal itself. Boats are fastened oftentimes with metal in the early days. Like in the Queen, she had a lot of iron fastening, and that iron, as it deteriorates, expands. That expansion destroys the wood around the fastener, and so you get metal decay happening, and a lot of the damage in the Queen has been from her metal fastenings.
So we're finishing up a lot of milestones. The paint job is, the topside paint job is done, and that's been a long time coming. There's a lot of repairs and a lot of fairing, a lot of filler, a lot of, you know, really making sure that that ended up correct after all the work that went on to those topsides. But again, we can try to bottom is done now, fully painted, primed, the whole thing, and obviously that's been an enormous endeavor, as that was, you know, one of the key items on this boat is rebuilding the bottom of the boat. The exterior of the boat is starting to look like it's ready for the water, and although we have a long way to go yet before the boat can go in the water, a lot of these finish items are really showing the progress on the boat for the first time.
So now that we've got all of the systems, the main engine, the generators, the fuel tanks, now that those are all in the boat and in the engine room, we can now start finishing building the bulkheads. The bulkheads are built out of 1-inch marine plywood, 2 layers of it, sandwiching some big white oak studs. These bulkheads are structural to help give the boat more rigidity because of the gyro stabilizer we're putting in the boat. Can't build it I had to not have the bulkhead here to get the tank in. Then once the tank is in, I can't put the tank anywhere else. So I have to build the bulkhead from the wrong side of the bulkhead. To make the pieces of the bulkhead, I will pattern out each section out of Luan, just door skin, cheap plywood, with hot glue and sticks, make a stick pattern.
Now with the carpenters out of the way, the keel in place, we really get to get our hands dirty. So every day we're sanding back old varnish. We've got people varnishing new things. So we did a bunch of coats build up on the rail going all the way around. That's going to need a lot of varnish because those are high touch areas. Any area, just like with the desktop, areas that people are going to be constantly touching or putting things on, we need a lot of coats on that. We also want them to look really, really perfect because they are huge display points. Everyone's going to be looking at them and touching them, and you really don't want to see any mistakes at all. I mean, it's us on the line, it's our reputation. Yeah. So we put a lot of pride into it. We really work hard, especially with the rail. There was a group of like 6 of us going through, and everyone was just checking each other's work, patting each other on the back, just making sure it comes out perfect every time.
The other side has access.
You know it's great in the center, but right, you get over there, and you got the here and here, you know, are pretty dramatic. Josh did an amazing job building a new dash for the pilot house on a really beautiful piece of mahogany that we were able to source, and then, you know, doing the final fit into the pilot house itself. And right now he's working on a small little piece of quarter round to make the transition between the dash and the beadboard that makes up the walls of the pilot house. The pilot house is not perfectly symmetrical, and trying to put a piece of trim there, follow the edges, and not sort of accentuate the odd shapes that Coastal Queen still has is really challenging.
I'm gonna fix my jig a little bit, get a little more accurate bend going here. We're gonna steam bend this quarter round. So we have a simple wallpaper steamer. This time around we're gonna be using a PVC tube that we're gonna put our 1/4 inch round in. We're hot enough, there's our steam, so we're ready to go. Just gonna make a makeshift gasket and get our steam going. Go right inside and clamp our trigger on. And we know we're good if we have steam coming out the other end. So for the steam to penetrate the wood, it is about 1 hour per inch, and we've got a 1/4 inch of wood in the steamer. So it'll take about 15 minutes for us to loosen up the lignins and get a good bend. I'm gonna go find 2 people that are willing to sacrifice a little of their break to help us get this job done. Come with me. Let's go check out the Maymere. Well, everybody's gonna be smoking over here. This is where all the old schoolers hang out, and they're not helping out. I was helping Dan out this morning, so we're gonna find him to help us out this afternoon. Nope, Dan's not at his office right now. Dan's probably in the boat. He doesn't know it's break. Let's go tell him it's break time, and then ask him to help us out. We found Dan. He wasn't on break. He's doing a glue up right now, so maybe we'll help him out. All right, steamer off. We're out of steam, so we're out of time. All right, here we go. We've got our piece. Let's get one clamp here in the center. Okay, there we go. Go one of these around our corner. Maybe we'll get one right in here, and just lightly. So So we've got a backing pad here to just give support. A little twist in it. One of our wedges is working here in place. We might just make a joint there right at the end. It's just such a little piece. That looks great.
This is perfect height for Kai. Give me the oil change guy. Yep. So this, oh Pete. Yeah, this is the mock-up for the. There'll be a little stateroom here, but double berth, right?
Right.
And then its own head with a nice standing shower.
Wow.
Everything there. And then they started messing around here. There's going to be another larger head and shower in this space.
Right.
Nice hallway up to the captain's quarters. There'll be another berth in here with a pipe berth, or with another berth that can drop down over there. Mm-hmm. And so that'll sleep 2, possibly 4, 5, 6, and then possibly one more in under the stairs. So it's our goal to be able to sleep 10 on the boat in a pinch.
They want to be able to sleep 10 people. So we got to find the spot for 10 people, you know, and it's like, okay, who are we gonna, they got kids too, so a couple bunk beds for kids is fine. But you know, this is gonna be a double bunk here, maybe a double, maybe a twin bed behind the, in this corner over here behind the stairwell. We need to find, we need to make room for 10 people to sleep in this old fishing boat. So. As per Henry, we'll find a spot.